Judge. First item tonight, remind the commission you can choose to make the selection tonight. You can choose to defer it. We've invited 3 applicants here to present their case while they're the best candidate for interim sessions judge. Libby, can you help me with the microphone here? I need to put the microphone up.
I make a motion on the motion for Joseph Ayers.
I'm not open for nominations yet. I'm not open for nominations. What we discussed was that we'd offer the floor to each candidate. And then set the parameters for selection. You can select tonight, or you can select a later date. You certainly can select. Mr. Stanton.
I got a question for Joe.
Are you asking for Mr. Ayers to approve the minutes? Oh, the county attorney?
Joe, I just want to make sure we got this right. This is just a temporary fulfillment until Judge Sammons goes to court, the judicial committee makes a ruling, and then we'll come back and have to appoint someone for the remainder of the term until the next election.
Now, this appointment would be until that situation with Judge Sammons is resolved, or until the next general election. We don't know how long it would take to resolve it, but it is an interim appointment. Assuming that it would be resolved before the next general election and there was time to qualify, then it would be on the ballot in the next election where Judge Sammons would be removed from office. If not, then it's our understanding that there would be options that she could be reinstated. It still could be unresolved at that time, depending upon appeals. We just don't know.
That's what I meant, the judicial committee, when they make their ruling, and if she is removed from the bench, then they have to come back and appoint one. See, we was told that.
That was what was said.
That's what they told us last time. We had to do this twice. That's what they told us. You said that on there?
Shane and Susan.
That's not your counsel.
That's not my understanding.
This is in the event of the interim suspension of the general sessions court or juvenile court judge. The county legislative body shall appoint a temporary replacement to serve until the interim suspension is lifted or the office becomes vacant.
That's what I'm saying.
So see, they told us we have, this is a temporary fulfillment until it is resolved or they remove them from the bench, and then we'll have one for permanent until the next election.
The way I understand it is the interim lasts until the next general election, if you replace it. So,
I think the point is, it says, or until the position becomes vacant. So, Shane's the one that explained it the other night, last week. And it sounded to me as if they would do that. You want this to?
Now, it's my understanding that there would be one interim appointment that would continue until one of those two things occur.
any other questions from the commission? Mr. Ayers?
Shane's not here, right?
I don't see.
He is the one that made this statement. He did, and that's the way I read it.
So that there would be two appointments.
Well, I guess the question is definition of vacant. It says, the county legislative body shall appoint a temporary replacement to serve until the interim suspension is lifted. So if they went on to court, they lifted it, let her come back, fine. Or the office becomes vacant. The office would definitely become vacant if she was removed. Because right now, she's just suspended. So I guess my question is define how the office becomes vacant. Because the way I read it, it would become vacant if the jurisprudence board removed her or the court did. Not vacant by the turn of the election.
I understand your question, and what I'm saying here is it will not become vacant until there will be a final action by the board. And at that point, it's my understanding that there could be a referral to the legislature. But until it would be final, I don't know that there's a vacancy as such. That would be something that the administrative office of the courts would need to give us instruction about.
So then it could be. Now you're saying what we're saying, that the court says the position is now vacant.
If
Then
the
we
court
have to
says
come
that
back
it's
and appoint a
vacant,
permanent.
if the court says that it's vacant, then the statute would say that you would fill it until the next general election.
Right. But I'm saying, we could put somebody in tonight, and the courts come back in a few months and declare it vacant. Remove her totally. Then we would have to come back and put a permanent person in until the next election.
May I see the statute that you're referring to? I'm afraid that we're talking past each other here. County legislative body shall appoint a temporary replacement to serve until the interim suspension is lifted. That would be one. Or the office becomes vacant. So if the office were to become vacant, I guess you would appoint we need to get some clarification on that from the administrative office of the courts. But the way the statute itself reads, if the office were to become vacant, then you appoint a person pursuant to another statute to fill that vacancy. Yes, until the next general election. Yes.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay. We'll offer the floor tonight in alphabetical order. Mr. Harris, like to address the body?
So ladies and gentlemen, I think y'all have what I've submitted as an application. I don't know exactly how you all are going to proceed. If you've got any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. I will tell you that 20 years ago, when I was practicing law, I probably never thought about asking to be general sessions judge. About 18 and a half years ago, I had practiced in every area of general sessions jurisdiction in Campbell County had. And I made the observation that there could be a calming and reasoned approach to filling the position of judge. I believed I had the ability to do that. I had the desire to do that, and the voters gave me the opportunity to do that. 2 years ago, I never would have thought that I would be asking to be general sessions judge. But my understanding is that there is again a need for a calmed and reasoned approach to having court in general session. I have the ability to do that. I have the desire to do that, and I'm here asking for that opportunity from you all. My understanding is that the docket is, I'll use a fancy legal term here, maybe a mess right now. I understand that. I can take that on. Probably no one remembers, but 18 years ago, 18 years, a month and a half ago, the election was on about the 4th or 5th of August. The judge at that time never took the bench again. So there was a backup of cases at that time. I dealt with that before, and I welcomed the opportunity to do it.
Questions from Mr. Harris?
Thank you all.
Mr. Weldon?
I'm sorry.
Just for going back to the previous election, where Mrs. Sammons was elected, why do you feel that she was nominated over you by the Campbell County people?
I think that would require a poll of the voters.
Do you have any impression of what you could have done better as a session judge?
I will tell you that I constantly look to improve, and I'm not gonna, I think that question presumes that she won because she was the better general sessions judge. I guess I wouldn't change my campaign the way I campaigned the last time. I think any of y'all who know me, and that's some, but not all of you, I'm pretty local. And I try to watch my words carefully in the courtroom and outside. And I'm not going to change that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Doug?
Mr. Perry, Mr. Aaron Bradley, she's got 2 people working in her office now, correct? If you're appointed, are you going to change those personnel?
I will tell you that with an interim label on an appointment, there is enough upheaval right now. I would not consider a change, presuming those folks won't stay in their position and work.
Well, the reason I'm asking is if you need to change it, appointed, it's going to cost the county some extra money.
Any other questions, Mr. Harris?
Thank you.
Tom Murphy?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the commission. I didn't really come here tonight with a speech prepared, and I'm not going to give you a speech, but I was asked to take this opportunity to tell you why that I'm the better person to serve in that position. I'd like a few minutes of your time to do that. I'm in a little bit different situation from the other 2 candidates in that I've never run for a political office other than running for the Jellicoe Sessions Judge, where I ran unopposed. So there wasn't a whole lot of politics involved in that. I don't consider myself a politician. I haven't spoken with most of you. I've called a few of you when I first decided that I was going to put my name into consideration. But even then, I didn't ask any of you to promise me or commit to anything. I just ask you to keep an open mind, to wait until you've had an opportunity to learn a little bit about me and then make your decision. That's what I'd like you to do tonight. I'm hoping you haven't come in here with your minds already made up. During this process, and since we've submitted the resumes, I haven't contacted you asking for your vote, nor have I seen anyone else to do that. If anyone has contacted you or come to you or called you or whatever on my behalf, they've done so on their own initiative. I have not tried to do that. And I really thought about that. There was an urge to do that, let me tell you, because I know some other people were doing that. But if I'm sitting on the bench as judge, I'm going to make all of my decisions in the open, in public, making my rulings from the bench. I'm not going to be making decisions and deciding cases on the telephone or in back rooms. And I did not intend to run for this position that way either. So I'm here tonight just to tell you a little bit about my experience. I'm maybe not as well known as the other two candidates, so I might take just a little bit longer. But let me tell you that I do have experience as a judge. I served for 12 years as the judge of the Jellicoe City Sessions Court. Now I say that's City Sessions Court because by private act, that court had exactly the same jurisdiction called concurrent jurisdiction with the General Sessions Court as to criminal matters. Now, I did not hear the divorce cases and the civil suits and the juvenile matters. But as to criminal matters, I heard the same cases. Not the same volume of cases, but the same cases were conducted in the same ways. My rulings were sent over to the grand jury and on to criminal court just as any other judges would have been. The public defenders came in and represented clients in those cases. So I have 12 years of experience in ruling in those cases. And the criminal cases make up the bulk of the docket hearings. But what about the other areas? Well, I have experience in every single area that General Sessions Court here hears because I had a substantial length of time in private practice before I went to work with the state. And I did domestic relations work, I did juvenile work, I did civil work, all those areas I have experience in. There's a couple of areas of law that I've never touched. I don't do bankruptcy laws and things like that, but those areas are not handled in General Sessions Court. In addition to my 12 years as a Jellicoe City Sessions judge, since that time, I have 12 years of experience with the state of Tennessee as an Assistant District Attorney General, where I have exclusively practiced criminal law for the last 12 years. Next month, we'll make 12 years in October is my employment anniversary. So through that, I've had the opportunity to work with all of the local attorneys, attorneys from adjoining counties, from Knoxville, everywhere else. And I have a good working relationship, I have a good rapport, and I think I have the respect and admiration of the local bar. And I think I could work with all of them. The reason I need to be the judge at this time is because I can return the civility and the dignity that that court needs. I can preside over that court in a manner that I can treat all people with respect that they deserve. I can treat all people fairly. I'm not going in with any agendas. I don't have anything for or against anyone. Didn't want to be committed to anyone, which is another reason I have not politicked for this position at all until tonight. And I'm doing that here openly in front of everyone. Let me also say, to me, this is important, but I'd like you to know that I have not had anything whatsoever to do with any of the issues going on with Judge Sammons. I worked with Judge Sammons in the District Attorney's Office for 10 years before she became judge. I have not filed any complaints against her. I have not given any statements against her. I've not participated in any of the investigations. And I've not badmouthed her on social media. I haven't shared posts about the newspaper articles and the TV things and everything else. I have completely stayed away from that. And I'd like to tell you why. First of all, I've not been accused of doing it. But I want to make it clear that I haven't, because I think it would be wrong for me to do anything whatsoever to try to get her out of office when the voters put her in office so that I can take her job. I have kept my hands off that completely. So again, I've not been accused of that, but I want to state that here tonight, that that's just not the way I work. That's not who Tom Barkley is. I have extensive experience in law enforcement even before I became an attorney. I was a police officer for 13 years. If you're doing the math, I'm older and dirt, okay? I was a police officer for 13 years, most of that right here in Campbell County, where I work as a local law enforcement officer. I also was in charge of training at the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy for 6 years, where I served as supervisor of basic training. So I'm very familiar with the law enforcement aspect of it. Again, that plays into the criminal jurisdiction of General Sessions Court. Now, that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you, but again, I know most of you may not know me as well as the other two candidates, and I would welcome your questions, anything you'd like to ask.
Any questions from the panel?
Rick Barton. I looked over all three of the candidates, all three certified, and I'd just like to state that for your background, from being a police officer on the street, you've worked in every access of law enforcement, from patrolman, chief of police, every department that will face a judge, one way or another, you have been in that place. And I think you would be very well qualified